Dear listeners, I welcome you to my channel. Leave your comments and impressions, I value your opinion. It's a dreary Thursday evening when I decide to confront Lisa. The rain taps the somber rhythm on the window panes of our living room, mirroring the tension between us. She sits on the cream-colored sofa, her legs curled beneath her, a book resting unopened in her lap. The room is dimly lit, the only source of light emanating from the soft glow of the floor lamp beside her. "You've been different lately," I start, my voice steady but my hands betraying me with their slight tremble. Lisa looks up, her hazel eyes narrowing just a fraction. "Different how, Mark?" "Because I've been reading more." Her tone is light, but there's a sharpness to it that wasn't there before. I take a deep breath, choosing my words with care. "No, not the reading. It's other things. You seem more distant, and then suddenly there are nights when you're not distant at all." I pause, watching her face for any sign of guilt or surprise. There's nothing. She's become an enigma, closed off like a book with a lock for which I no longer have the key. Lisa sets her book down, her movements slow and deliberate. "So what are you saying, Mark? Spit it out." I meet her gaze, the gravity of the moment pressing down on me. "Your skills in bed have gotten much better. Have you had training?" The words hang heavy between us, charged with accusation. She blinks, her cheeks coloring not with modesty but anger. "What's all this about? Are you seriously asking me that?" I nod, the weight of my decision anchoring me to the spot. "Yes, Lisa. I'm asking because it's just so sudden, so different. It doesn't add up." Lisa's laugh is short and devoid of humor. "You think I'm taking, what, sex lessons? Because I wanted to try something new with my husband." The room grows colder, the air between us charged with unsaid words and suspicions. "It's not just the sex, Lisa. It's how you've been coming home late, the secretive phone calls, the weekends you're away." Her face hardens, her posture stiffening as she stands. "You've been spying on me." "No, not spying. Observing. And tomorrow, a private detective will give me his report." "I assume your newfound skills will be an important part of that report," I reply, my voice firmer now. "I'm committed to this path, no matter where it leads." Lisa's eyes flash with a mixture of fear and defiance. "You hired a detective? On me? You're unbelievable, Mark." She steps towards me, her fists clenched at her sides. "You think you can control me? Invade my privacy like this?" The argument spirals, her accusations and my defenses blending into a cacophony of hurt and betrayal. But beneath it all, there's a painful undercurrent of love, twisted and torn by suspicion. Finally, she grabs her purse, her voice low and trembling with anger. "Maybe I should thank you, Mark. You've just shown me who you really are." And with those words, she storms out, leaving the door to slam behind her with a resounding echo. I'm left standing alone, the silence of the room suffocating as I ponder the ruins of our love. Outside, the rain continues to fall, blurring the world into a wash of gray. Tomorrow's revelations loom ominously, promising nothing but the bitter truth of whatever reality we've constructed or destroyed together. The next morning, the city wakes to a curtain of mist that clings to the streets like a lingering secret. I sit in a downtown cafe, nursing a strong black coffee, waiting for the private detective I hired to walk through the door. The bell rings sharply as the door opens, and a tall man with a grizzled beard steps in. He spots me and makes his way over, his steps deliberate, the weight of his profession evident in his eyes. "Mark?" he asks, extending a rough hand. "I'm Ron Jennings." We shake hands, and he slides into the booth opposite me. He places a thick envelope on the table, his expression unreadable. "Found quite a bit." Ron begins, his voice low. "You sure you want to go through this?" I nod, my stomach churning with a mix of dread and necessity. "Yes, I need to know." Ron sighs and opens the envelope, spreading several photographs and documents between us. "Your wife has been spending time at the Majestic Hotel downtown, mostly on weekends. Always checks in alone, but not always alone for long." My heart sinks as he lays out photos of Lisa entering the hotel, her face obscured by large sunglasses. In another, she's with a man, tall, with striking red hair, someone unfamiliar. "Who is he?" I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. "Not sure yet. Still working on that. But they've met up at least 3 times over the past month." Ron watches me closely, gauging my reaction. I push the photos away, feeling a wave of nausea. "What else?" "He's not the only one she's met. Ron continues, pulling out more photos. Another man, this one older, with salt and pepper hair, appears in a series of images with Lisa at various cafes and a small art gallery. My mind reels, the images a visceral punch to my gut. She's seeing multiple men. It seems like it. Ron confirms, his tone sympathetic yet professional. Before I can process this further, my phone vibrates. It's a text from Lisa. We need to talk. Can we meet at the greenhouse park at noon? Please. I show Ron the message, my hands trembling. I have to see her. Try to get more on these men. Ron nods, collecting the photos. I'll keep digging. Be careful, Mark. Things might not be what they seem. I leave the cafe with more questions than answers. The city around me a blur as I drive to the park. The greenhouse park is quiet, the usual crowd thinned by the early hour and misty weather. Lisa is already there, seated on a bench under a drooping willow tree, her figure solitary and contemplative. As I approach, she looks up, her eyes red-rimmed but resolute. Mark, she starts, but I hold up a hand. I saw the photos, Lisa. The hotels, the men. What is going on? I demand. The hurt clear in my voice. Lisa takes a deep breath, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. It's not what you think, Mark. I haven't been unfaithful. Then what? Explain it to me, please, I plead, my anger mingling with a desperate hope for an innocent explanation. She meets my gaze, her voice steady. I've been taking art classes, Mark, and yes, there are men in my class, friends, nothing more. The hotel conferences were art seminars, networking. I wanted to surprise you, show you my paintings when I was ready. A mix of relief and confusion washes over me. Why didn't you just tell me? Because you've been so distant, absorbed with work. I thought maybe this could be something just for me. A piece of me that wasn't defined by us. I sit beside her, the pieces of the puzzle not quite fitting together yet. I want to believe you, Lisa. She reaches out, her hand trembling as it finds mine. Let me show you my work, my world. Maybe then you'll understand. As we sit in silence, the park around us slowly coming to life. I realize that the road to understanding each other might just be beginning. But first, I need to see her world, through her eyes. Lisa leads me to her studio, a small, bright space in a building filled with artists' workshops on the east side of the city. The air smells of fresh paint and turpentine, a stark contrast to the pristine order of our home. Canvases of various sizes lean against the walls, some draped with clothes, others openly displaying vibrant, chaotic bursts of color. Here, she says, pulling a cloth off one of the larger canvases. It reveals a stunning abstract piece, blues and greens swirling into each other, evoking a sense of stormy seas. I've been working on this series for months. The beauty of her work strikes me, and for a moment, all my doubts are overshadowed by pride and awe. Lisa, these are incredible. Why didn't you tell me? She shrugs, a wistful smile playing on her lips. I thought I might fail, and I didn't want you to see that. Not until I was sure. I nod, understanding the vulnerability hidden beneath her secrecy. But the nagging doubts aren't dispelled as easily. And the men from the photos? Lisa sighs, setting down a palette smeared with dried paint. Tom and Richard, their mentors and friends. Tom is a gallery owner, and Richard teaches the class, nothing more. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's Ron, the detective. Got something else for you, Mark. Can you meet now? I glance at Lisa, who nods. Go, we'll talk more later. I meet Ron at a coffee shop nearby. The buzz of the lunch crowd a stark contrast to the quiet of Lisa's studio. Ron slides another envelope across the table. Found something about the red-haired man you should see. Inside, there are more photographs and a document. The man, identified as Alex Redford, has a history of fraud and deception, known for charming his way into wealthy circles. He's bad news, Ron explains. Looks like he targets women, gets close to them, exploits their connections. Dread pools in my stomach. Do you think Lisa is being conned? It's possible, Ron muses, tapping on the photo with Alex. Or she might just be a target. Either way, you need to be careful. This guy is dangerous. Armed with this new information, I drive back to Lisa's studio, my mind racing. When I arrive, she is wiping her hands with a rag, her face lit up by the late afternoon sun filtering through the high windows. Mark, what is it? You look like you've seen a ghost. I decide to lay it all out. It's Alex, the red-haired man. He's known for fraud. Is he trying to con you? Lisa's face pales and she drops the rag. Alex? But he's just a friend of Tom's. He said he was interested in my art. Maybe he was interested in more than your art, I say gently, wanting to protect her yet needing her to see the truth. We sit down amidst her paintings, the colorful canvases around us a stark contrast to the dark revelations. I think you should avoid him, Lisa, just to be safe. Lisa nods slowly, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and resolution. I will. And I'm sorry for not telling you everything. It's just, this was the one thing that was mine. I understand, but from now on, let's keep no more secrets. Not from each other, I say, reaching for her hand. She squeezes it, a silent promise hanging between us. As we leave the studio, the evening casts long shadows across the city, hinting at the mystery still hidden in its depths. The journey to trust and truth is just beginning, and I know there will be more challenges ahead, but at least we're facing them together. A week later, the city is shrouded in a typical autumnal fog that seems to cast shadows everywhere. Lisa and I have been cautious, stepping carefully around the parts of our lives that have become entangled with secrecy and suspicion. Today, however, is the day we face everything head-on. We're at the gallery where Lisa's first art showing is scheduled to take place. Tom is there, bustling around with preparations, his demeanor betraying no hint of the deeper currents swirling beneath the surface. Alex has not been seen since our discovery of his dubious past, and Lisa has kept her distance, focusing on her art. As I help Lisa arrange her paintings, my phone buzzes. It's Ron, his message concise. Need to see you ASAP. Big news. Leaving Lisa in the midst of her preparations, I meet Ron at a small diner 2 blocks away. He slides into the booth across from me, his face grim. Mark, there's more you need to know, he starts, sliding another envelope across the table. It's about Tom. My heart skips. Tom. What about him? Ron's eyes are serious. He's connected to Alex. Deeper than just acquaintances. They've been involved in several scams together. It seems they use these art shows to find new targets. I'm sorry, Mark. Stunned, I lean back. This changes everything. Lisa was never the target. It was always about getting to me, through her. The weight of the betrayal is suffocating. I have to tell Lisa, I say, standing abruptly. She needs to know the truth about who she's trusting. Ron nods. Be careful. Confronting them might not go smoothly. Rushing back to the gallery, I find Lisa overseeing the placement of her largest canvas. I pull her aside, the envelope from Ron in hand. Lisa, there's something you need to see about Tom. Her expression tightens, a mix of fear and anticipation in her eyes. As we look through the documents detailing Tom's fraudulent activities, her initial shock turns to anger. How could he use my art like this, my passion? She whispers, fury lacing her words. We need to confront him. Now, I urge. Together, we find Tom in the back office, his demeanor casual, unaware of the storm about to break. Lisa slams the documents down in front of him. Explain this, Tom. Now. Tom's eyes flicker with something dark before he smooths his expression into one of confusion. Lisa, Mark, what's this about? Don't play dumb, Tom. You and Alex scamming people through these shows? Using me? Lisa's voice is a sharp blade, cutting through the pretense. Tom sighs, leaning back in his chair with a resigned grimace. Lisa, it was never about you. You were just a convenient cover, and Mark, well, we knew he had resources, connections, it was business. Before more can be said, the front door of the gallery bursts open. Ron strides in, 2 police officers in tow. Tom stands abruptly, a flicker of panic crossing his features as he realizes the game is up. You're under arrest, one officer announces, moving to handcuff Tom. The gallery, once a place of beauty and creativity, feels now like a stage for deception.